This twist has everyone talking. Just a few years ago, Bill Burr was hailed as one of the best comedians around, but as you know, all good things come to an end. His recent comments on the devastating California wildfires have left people scratching their heads, and not in a very good way. Instead of his usual humor, Burr's whitewashing of the state's leadership came across as tone-deaf, and today we're unpacking his out-of-touch statements and exploring some of the reactions to a once-beloved comedian seemingly embracing the role of becoming an establishment shill. As always, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos just like this.
I heard you had to evacuate your home.
Yes, like most people I had to. I got lucky, the winds moved, but, the fire was coming and all that stuff, so I feel lucky.
Are you guys back in?
And I think everybody did a great job.
Yeah.
Unlike the internet,
Yeah, right, I know, it's right.
Oh, my God. All of these fire experts. Why didn't you just fly a helicopter into the ocean? And then just, I don't know, because there was 100-knot winds. You want to do that? You want to do that at night, you lunatic?
How are you?
This was definitely mismanaged.
That's a big word we're hearing now.
Mismanaged, like some idiot on the internet knows how to manage the worst fire in LA, sitting there in his underwear. You know what? Looking at the footage on the internet, I have determined that this here was mismanaged.
I'm really struggling to find the comedy here. It's the same old, oh, people on the internet love to act like armchair specialists, but the thing is, Bill is contradicting himself. By giving his own glowing assessment of how great things supposedly were, he's doing exactly what he's mocking others for, which is being an armchair specialist. It's the same job, but instead of posting it on X, he's going to Jimmy Kimmel to spread propaganda. What's more frustrating is the sheer level of intellectual dishonesty in his claims. Saying things weren't mismanaged is kind of a stretch. The facts are out there and no amount of clever phrasing or rhetorical gymnastics can twist them into a narrative that suits his point. Mismanagement was glaringly obvious, and glossing over it isn't just misleading, it's insulting to the people who have lost their lives, homes, and livelihoods. If anything, the internet specialists Bill criticizes are the ones calling out these half-baked takes and questioning the narratives being spoon-fed to the public. Mel Gibson is another Californian who was affected by these catastrophic wildfires, and instead of going on late-night shows promoting any of his upcoming projects, he actually stayed on the ground and did this.
None of us were aware of the water issues with the reservoirs and stuff, right?
Oh, okay. You didn't know about that?
No,
They didn't tell you the reservoir was empty?
We never, no clue.
You should have known this.
Did you think you had water initially?
Initially, we did. We had water. But we ran out of water fairly quickly. So it's not uncommon for us to lose water in our firefight. It's just that early in the game was surprising.
Yeah, because it wasn't there.
Not, yeah.
It wasn't there.
So,
okay. And no one told you.
Right.
That's the crazy.
It's totally crazy.
We took the fire truck up to Mel Gibson's home, which was totally destroyed by the fire. It's just rubble left up there. He said his Oscars actually weren't there, but he did lose some of his Braveheart memorabilia. But his focus was really on all the people who are not as fortunate as him here, who have now lost everything. Everybody just thinks, oh, it's all rich people in these areas. There are a lot of rich people, but there's also a lot of people who have owned these homes for 3 or 4 generations, bought them a long time ago, and don't have the money to rebuild and are very, very concerned about how they're going to move forward from here.
Do you see the stark difference here? It's almost like we're living in the Hunger Games at this point. Bill is practically turned into a mouthpiece for the Capitol, parroting the carefully crafted propaganda that keeps the masses distracted. Meanwhile, the reality on the ground is chaotic, mismanaged, and riddled with issues they'd rather you not notice. But the cracks are showing. People are waking up to the stark contrast between what they're told and what they see with their own eyes. This isn't just about Bill, it's about a larger system that thrives on selling illusions while dismissing legitimate concerns as misinformation or conspiracy theories, creating a culture where questioning the narrative is treated as heresy. Thankfully, we have independent journalists like Tucker Carlson who aren't afraid to invite the likes of Schellenberger on his show, and he explained in detail how grossly mishandled the tragic fires of California really were.
The important thing to know is that the National Weather Service put out a fire warning on January 2nd, and a local weatherman actually forecasted on January 1st. They said we're headed towards a super dangerous moment. The next day, the National Weather Service Los Angeles held a briefing to underscore that point. The day after that, the mayor flew to Ghana. I mean, it's crazy. They knew the fires were coming and they didn't do anything. The mayor leaves the country. She flies to Ghana after having promised not to leave the country, by the way, as mayor. She's traveled at least six times out of the country and she promised not to travel. Why is it important the mayor be there? Because you can say, well, aren't there other people in charge? Because it's an emergency command situation. She has to be able to issue orders and to, waive regulations and make things happen. The governor has to be doing that. They didn't do that. We're at 10,000, structures at this point, homes and buildings gone, 200,000 people evacuated. I mean, it's like, it's madness. It never needed to get to that level.
Just to clarify, before becoming mayor, Karen Bass pledged to the New York Times that if elected, quote, not only would I, of course, live here, but I would not travel internationally. The only places I would go would be DC, Sacramento, San Francisco, and New York in relation to LA. Talk about keeping a campaign promise. The reason for her recent trip was because of her being, quote, part of a U.S. delegation to Accra for the inauguration of Ghana president. Drop a like, by the way, if you think her trip would be a turning point in her political career. She also tried to downplay the effect of her not being president in LA while the wildfires were breaking out, saying, quote, she was continuously in contact with people in the States almost every hour of the flight while she was en route back from Ghana. As if that's supposed to make us feel bad for her. Matt Walsh also gave his thoughts on Bill Burr's shenanigans, and he went all out on that guy.
The truth is that that's kind of underselling the decline of Bill Burr as a comedian. Even when he's not trying to make some grand political statement on behalf of the Democrat Party, he's still falling flat. A few months ago, he appeared on SNL and had several moments where the audience had no response, at all, to what he was saying. Kind of brutal. If you go back and pull up clips of old Bill Burr routines from more than 10 years ago, it's like watching a completely different person. He was actually a comedian, for one thing. He was funny. And he was even insightful in his own way at certain points. Burr, at one point, had genuine talent. He wasn't going for the lowest common denominator, and he certainly wasn't running interference for some of the most incompetent politicians in the country, people who destroyed their own city while getting a lot of people killed in the process solely because of his political affiliation. But that's what he's been reduced to. You know the saying, you either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. Well, that perfectly sums up what is happening with Bill Burr. Here's a guy who built his career on sharp, no-holds-barred comedy, calling out hypocrisy wherever he sees it. And he was the guy who didn't care about stepping on toes as long as the truth got a good laugh. Bill has become exactly what he used to criticize, and it's honestly a little sad to watch. The guy who once challenged the status quo now seems more interested in trading his edge for a cushy spot at the table he once mocked. He's gone from being the outsider who called out the nonsense to someone who appears to perpetuate it. But I'd love to know your thoughts here, so let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please share it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.